Good morning, children. Today, let's discuss about the chapter The Collectors, Unit 3 of your prose. And before that, I'd like to introduce myself to you all. My name is Rajesh Rajgopal. I'm your new English teacher for this academic year 2020-21. This Collectors is actually a drama, not a chapter, not a lesson. And it's a very interesting drama. It deals with a group of boys and girls like you, young boys and girls like you, students, with their teachers. They have gone for an adventure walk with the teachers when they're kidnapped by a couple of aliens from some other planet, and how they escape from their hands. Now, let's get introduced to the characters. Pete, Carol, Tracy, Glenn, Wayne, Don, Mr. Hunt, Miss Swan, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Brown, and Mr. Brown. Now the first scene is the lonely countryside. The children are out for an adventure walk with teachers. It is raining hard. Now let's listen to some of the dialogues between the teachers and the students. Miss Swan says, "Isn't there somewhere where we can shelter?" Mr. Hunt, "Not until we get to the village." Mrs. Jones asks, "How far is that?" Mr. Hunt says, "Nearly 3 miles. Now Don says, 3 miles. Tracy, I am soaked. Do you all know what is the meaning of soaked? Soaked means getting wet. Miss Swan, one of the teachers, she says, "The children are getting very wet." Mr. Hunt replies, "I can't help that. We'll have to just press on." Pete, "Can't we shelter over there, sir?" Mr. Hunt, "Where?" Pete says, "There, in that house." Mr. Hunt, "That is not a house, surely. Hard to see in all the rain." Miss Swan says, "Of course it is. Try wiping your glasses." Now can you understand what has happened here? Mr. Hunt's glasses are wet because of the rain, so he cannot see anything properly. So Miss Swan tells him to wipe his glasses, then he can see properly. Mr. Hunt, "You are right. Lonely place to choose for a house. It certainly wasn't there when I was here walking last summer." So it's a new house, as we can make out from Mr. Swan's words, Mr. Hunt's words. So Mrs. Jones replies, "Funny looking place." Miss Swan says, "Are we just going to stand here in the downpour, gaping at it? It's raining heavily. They want a place where they can get some shelter. But they are just talking amongst themselves, looking at the house," which irritates Miss Swan, and she says, "Are we just going to stand here in the rain, looking at the house?" Don says, "Yes, can't we go up there and ask for shelter, sir?" Mr. Hunt, "We can't take all you crowd into a private house. You are dripping wet." Mrs. Jones, "There is probably a shed or garage. We could shelter there." Miss Swan, "We can at least ask." Wayne, "Yes, sir. Why not?" Tracy, "I am freezing." Mr. Hunt, "Oh, all right." Now next scene is they have reached the house. They are in the kitchen of the house, where one Mrs. Brown is with all the children and the teachers. Mr. Brown comes in through the outer door. Mr. Brown tells Mrs. Brown, "I have hung up all the wet clothing in the porch." Mr. Hunt, "I don't know why I am still holding this walking stick." Mr. Brown, "Give it to me. I'll put it outside with the other things." Mr. Hunt, "It's all right. I'll hang it on the back of this chair." Now Mrs. Brown says, "Now that we have all introduced ourselves, why don't you children sit down? They have come to a house where Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown are the owners of that house. They are the ones who live in that house. They get introduced to these children and their teachers, and now they say all the children can sit down, and Mr. Brown says all the grown-ups can come through into the room. So they make the children sit in a separate place, and they make the teachers sit in a separate place. Why do they do that? We will come to know later. Mrs. Brown, "You children will be all right here, won't you? There isn't enough room here for everyone." Carol says, yes, thanks. Glenn, oh yes. Pete, we'll be fine. Mrs. Jones, thank you very much for taking us in like this. Mr. Brown, our pleasure. Mrs. Brown, there's a fresh pot of tea made in the other room. Would you like a cup? Miss Swan, I'd love one. Mrs. Jones, so would I. Mrs. Brown, would you like to come through then? Now Mr. and Mrs. Brown and the three teachers, they go out. The children are left all alone here. They become silent for a few minutes. Then they look around. Then they talk amongst themselves. First Wayne says, you can't hear any sound of that wind in here. Tracy says, no, it's terribly quiet, weird. Don, I can just hear their voices in the sitting room. Glenn says, it's cold in here too. Wayne, maybe we feel cold because we are tired from all that walking. Tracy, and we did get wet. Glenn, no, not just that, it is cold. Pete says, and empty. This kitchen reminds me of the hospital. Where do they wash up? No, they say they see a kitchen and they don't see any sink for washing the vessels or anything, so they are a bit surprised. Don replies, in the sink or the washing up machine. Pete, there is nothing like that. They don't find any sink or any washing up machine, so they are surprised. There is nothing standing about either, Carol says. No plates, no pots and pans, things like that. Don replies, they will put away in cupboards. Now we can make out from this that the house in which they are staying, they have come right now, it's looking a little strange. The children are a bit surprised because they are finding a kitchen where there are no pots, no vessels, no plates, no sink for washing, no washing up machine, nothing, but still it's a kitchen. Wayne opens a cupboard near the back door. Wayne, this one is quite empty. Don says, don't go poking about, Wayne. Pete opens the fridge door. Pete, there's nothing at all in this fridge and the light is not on, it's not even working. Tracy says, leave things alone, you two. It's cheeky to snoop. Besides, they might come in and catch you. I thought there was something a bit strange about Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Funny you should say that, so did I, Pete replies. Perhaps they're crooks. This is their hideout. Now, what is meant by crook? A crook is a person who is into something illegal, a thief or a criminal. Now, Tracy says they'd have hardly let us in if they were crooks, would they? Don, no, that's silly. Carol, maybe we ought to have gone on walking to the village. Don replies, we would have got drenched. Now, Mrs. Brown comes back into the room. She says, Mrs. Brown, all right here? Good. She notices the partly open cupboard door. I hope you might remember Wayne had tried to open the cupboard some time ago. Oh, were you looking for something in that cupboard? Don, it was Wayne. He was being nosy. Now, what is the meaning of nosy? Nosy means poking your nose into something which somebody else does, interfering in somebody else's affairs. Mrs. Brown replies, I see. She closes the door looking at Wayne. Now, Wayne feels a bit guilty because he has been caught and he says, I didn't mean any harm. We just wondered where you put your plates and things. Mrs. Brown says, I'd rather you didn't touch anything. We have just moved in and haven't had time to sort things yet. That's why this place looks rather deserted. What is the meaning of deserted? Something which is lonely, something where you don't find anything or anyone. Pete, we only wondered. Mrs. Brown, yes, well, would you all like a drink? Pete wanted to say something. He wondered about something and he wants to express that to Mrs. Brown, but she cuts him short. She doesn't allow him to complete his words. She says, would you like a drink? Tracy says, I would. Glenn says, me too. Now Mrs. Brown asks them, will orange juice be all right? Wayne, yes, please. Don says, fine, thanks. The others nod their heads. Mrs. Brown, good. And remember, please leave these cupboards alone. Wayne, we will. Pete, don't worry, Mrs. Brown. So, Mrs. Brown, before she goes out, she looks at the closed doors of a larger cupboard on the opposite wall and she says, do remember, I will go and get those drinks. She goes out. Now, Carol speaks now. Did you see her hand? She says, when she closed that cupboard door, I looked, she has 7 fingers on both hands. Now, all of us have got 5 fingers in our hands, in each hand. This Mrs. Brown, she had 7 fingers on both hands, which Carol has noticed. Pete, I was watching her eyes. Glenn, yes. As far as I could see, they were all one color. They didn't have any black sort of centers. Can you understand what they are meaning here? That round eyeball which we all have in our eyes. Go on, she could be something veiled like a vampire. A vampire is the other name for a ghost. Tracy says, oh, shut up. Yes, shut up, you are making all this up to scare us. Pete says, no, we are not. Now Tracy says, I don't want to stay here. Wayne says, I'll tell you something. The train has changed to thick fog outside. I've been watching it. Glenn says, yes, you can't see anything out of that window. And Carol replies, no, I hope it doesn't mean we are going to have to stay here all night. Tracy says, stay here all night? Not me. I don't fancy that as well. I don't fancy that either. Let's go. Glenn, we can't just slide off. I'll go and tell Mr. Hunt and the others how we feel. He goes out. Wayne, it's all a bit mysterious. I wonder what's in that other cupboard. Dawn replies, leave it alone. Tracy says, if she catches you, she will be mad. So Wayne replies, she won't catch me. Wayne opens the cupboard door and he finds dials, digital readouts, colored lights, and a mass of other electronic equipment. What on earth is all that doing there? Is it some kind of computer? Those things, they are figures or words, some kind of foreign language. Look at all those lights. It's a real space age stuff. What could it be for? Spying. You think so? Carol, close the door. Someone is coming. They close the door, but it doesn't quite shut. Pete comes back in. Pete, I think we need help. What did Mr. Hunt say? Now Pete has gone to meet Mr. Hunt and the other teachers. So he comes back. What did Mr. Hunt say? Mr. Hunt said nothing. He couldn't. Couldn't? I went quietly in. I was a bit scared. The door of the other room was partly open. I saw Mr. Hunt first sitting there, not moving, staring at nothing. You mean he was thinking about something? He was tired. No, I do not. He was drugged. Miss Swan and Mrs. Jones are the same. I crept a bit closer. Now, could you understand what has happened here? The 3 teachers, that is Mr. Hunt, Miss Swan, and Mrs. Jones, they have been drugged. They have been fed with some medicine which has made them drowsy and sleepy, and they are not able to understand what is happening around them. Then I could see them too. They were sitting blank as they had been turned into stone. And Mr. and Mrs. Brown, they were looking at them and I don't know, talking. What were they saying? No idea, they weren't really talking. It sounded that they were just sort of hissing and clicking at each other. So Mr. and Mrs. Brown were not talking. According to Pete, they were just hissing, making a hissing sound. Hissing is the sort of sound which snakes make, as you know, might be knowing, and clicking at each other. Now Tracy gets scared and she says, I want to get out of here. Wayne, I am getting out right now. So Wayne goes to the back door and tries to open it. It is locked, there is no key. Dawn, let me try. No, it won't just open. Glenn, how about the window? Wayne tries the window. No, no chance, it won't move. Tracy, smash the glass. We have got to get out. Carol, here, try Mr. Hunt's walking stick. Use that, Wayne. Wayne tries to break the glass with the stick. It won't break. He hits the glass again. It just bounces off. Now Glenn takes the walking stick and uses it. It's no use. That glass is like steel. So they're not able to break the glass with the walking stick. So they think, come on, we'll see if there's a way out through the front. They begin to crowd towards the kitchen door when Mrs. Brown comes in with a tray of drinks. Mrs. Brown, good heavens, what's all this now? What on earth have you children been doing? Carol says, we want to leave. Mrs. Brown, in this fog, how can you? Pete, what have you done to Mr. Hunt and the others? Done? Nothing. We have been having a cup of tea. Carol, Pete says you have drugged them. Mrs. Brown says, nonsense. Where in the world did you get that idea? Now Mrs. Brown notices the cupboard left partly open. And she says, I do wish you had the courtesy not to interfere with these cupboards. She is asked a question by Glenn, what is that stuff in there? She replies, what do you mean stuff? It is electronic equipment. It belongs to my husband. He is a scientist. It's part of his work. And why is the back door locked? It always locks when you close it. It is a burglar-proof lock. The windows are burglar-proof too. My husband doesn't want to run the risk of having any expensive equipment stolen. Now Tracy understands that they have been trying to scare them, saying there was something strange about this house and about you. Mrs. Brown asks, how dare you? After we have taken you in and looked after you, after I have gone through all the trouble of getting those drinks for you, the least you can do is to sit quietly and drink them. I bet they are drugged, just like the tea you gave Mr. Brown and the others, Mr. Hunt and the others. Now just stop that kind of talk, Mrs. Brown says. Pete, I saw them. You have got them in the other room, drugged. You saw nothing of that sort. They are all chatting to Mr. Brown right now. Ask them to come in here then, so we can see them. Certainly not. I'm not dragging them in here just because a lot of children's silly fantasies. Well, let us go there and see them, Glenn says. Mrs. Brown, no you don't. I'm not going to be ordered about by children. She bars the way through the door. Carol, she can't stop us on her own if we all try to go. All right, Mrs. Brown replies. I'll go and fetch one of your teacher's stupid children. She goes out. Dawn, she is going to bring them. They aren't drugged at all. You are trying to scare us, Tracy says. Dawn says, you're stupid, Pete. Tracy, it's an ordinary house and they're ordinary people. Dawn says, frightening us like that? You're rotten. Pete says, I know what I saw. Give us that walking stick, Glenn. Glenn, here you are. As Glenn gives Pete the stick, both Mr. and Mrs. Brown come in. Carol asks, where is Mr. Hunt? Mr. Brown says, he won't be coming and you had better drink. Pete, don't anybody touch that stuff. Mr. Brown, it will make no difference. You can't escape anyway. Wayne says, oh no, come on Glenn, let's get past them. Now Glenn and Wayne, they make a rush for the door. One-armed, Mrs. Brown brushes them away. They are sent flying across the kitchen. Just Mrs. Brown touches them with her hands and they go flying across the kitchen. Mr. Brown, stop that. We don't want any of you damaged. And either one of us alone is more than a match for any 5 feeble earth children. Carol replies, if you try to keep us here, the police will come looking for us. Mr. Brown, will they? They won't find you here. Tracy asks, no, where are you taking us? Mrs. Brown, shall I tell them? Mr. Brown, why not? It might calm them to know that there is no avoiding their fate. So Mrs. Brown replies, we are taking you to our planet, our home planet. So Carol asks, you are not from Earth, you are aliens. Now they understand what exactly is happening. Mr. Brown replies, exactly. Wayne says, but you are human, you look like human. Mrs. Brown says, we can take on any shape we wish for a time. So can our spaceship. Mr. Brown says, at the moment, as you have seen, it looks like an earth house, very useful for our mission. And Mrs. Brown says, in a few moments, we shall convert it to a spaceship again and return to our normal shape. So you had better drink. It will make the shock of takeoff easier for you. Now Tracy says, but you mustn't take us. You can't. Mr. Brown, how wrong you are. Wayne says, but why us? Why pick on us? Mrs. Brown says, you were available. We collect creatures from other worlds like you. Why? What for? For experiment and scientific study. You will be useful to us. Oh no, we won't. Now, children, I think you must have realized, or you must be remembering, in the beginning, Mr. Hunt says, last time when I came walking here, this house wasn't there. So you can understand what exactly has happened. That house wasn't there at the time. Now it is there because it's not a house, it's a spaceship from another planet which they have converted to a house. Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Flinging the cupboard door open, Pete holds up the walking stick two-handed. Come any one step nearer and I smash this equipment. Mr. Brown. No, Mrs. Brown, do nothing yet, too dangerous. Now Pete says, grab a chair, Glenn, and come over here. If they so much as move, smash all this. Glenn joins Pete with a chair raised and ready. Now Mr. Brown says, smash any parts of those panels and you can kill us all. Pete says, I'll take the chance. Carol, you and the rest get near that outer door. Carol, yes, come on, you lot, quick. All the children except Pete and Glenn cluster against the door to the outside. Now Mr. Brown says, they are only children. We can rush them, attack. Mrs. Brown, no, they are wild, keep still. Mr. Brown, we can't let this happen. Beaten by inferior creatures. Mrs. Brown, we must. If they break any part of that equipment, we are stranded here on Earth. We can do no repairs here. Now Pete tells them, you go and bring Mr. Hunt and the others out here. Mr. Brown says, no. So Pete taps the panel with the stick and swings it back for a real blow. Mrs. Brown, go and fetch them. Now they get scared, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, that all their equipment will be damaged. And if that happens, they cannot go to their planet. They will be stranded here on Earth. So Mr. Brown goes out, Pete. Now Pete asks, how do we open the back door and the door in the porch? Mrs. Brown, all right, it's that control down there on the left. It's marked with yellow light. Press it. Now Glenn replies, don't trust her, Pete. I won't. Listen, if doors don't open at once, Glenn and I start wrecking. Mrs. Brown, I am telling the truth. Press the control. Press it. What? Pete says, watch her, Glenn, and if this is a trick, use that chair. Glenn replies, don't you worry, mate. Pete presses the control and the doors open. Carol, it's all right, Pete. It worked. Mr. Hunt, Miss Swan, and Mrs. Jones stagger dazedly into the room. Mr. Brown is behind them. Pete, help them, get them outside and well away from the house. Wayne asks, what about you? Pete says, don't worry, get going. The children help the adults out through the back door, leaving Pete and Glenn facing Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Now Glenn asks Pete, what now, Pete? They'll grab us as we run for it. Pete says, no, they won't. I've got a plan. You go first. Glenn says, not without you. Mrs. Brown, we underestimated these creatures. They were never so fierce before. Mr. Brown says, they were all drugged before. Pete says, go through that other door behind and you close it. Mr. Brown, and if we refuse, Pete says, you'll be very sorry. He taps the panel again with the stick. Mrs. Brown, do as he says. Quickly, we have no choice. The two aliens go out and close the door behind them. Pete, run for it, Glenn, now. Glenn says, right. Glenn and Pete dash for the back door and disappear through it. Scene, moorland a little later. After some time, they're all in the moorland. The whole party is sitting on the grass. It is neither raining nor foggy. The sun is out. Mrs. Jones, I can't believe any of it. Carol, but you remember being drugged, miss, don't you? Dawn, and all our anoraks were left in that house, spaceship thing. Glenn replies, and the house isn't there anymore. Just vanished in a soundless flash. Miss Swan replies, I know, but it's mad. It's incredible. Now Mr. Hunt says we have to report it. Miss Swan, don't be silly, how can we? It will sound utter nonsense. Now Mr. Hunt replies, people disappear. Maybe they were collected as we were. Surely we have got to tell the story, believable or not, as a warning. Wayne says it will sound crazy. Tracy, I don't want people thinking I am potty. Mrs. Jones, I agree, say nothing. Now Mr. Hunt replies at last, I don't know, swear everybody to secrecy. Anyway, I am cold. Let's go, get on down to the village. Talk it over as we go. The party moves off, argue. So this completes this particular drama, that is The Collectors, which is about, if you want me to tell you the summary of this particular chapter, it's about a group of students with 3 teachers of theirs. They're on an adventure walk. They come across, it starts raining suddenly. So they come across a house where they get inside asking for shelter. They are given shelter, they are given tea and everything. But they find out that the 2 people who were in that house, they are not actual human beings, but they were aliens from some other planet. And their plan was to kidnap all this entire group and take them to their planet. So they offer tea to the teachers, and they would have mixed some drug in that tea. So the teachers fall asleep, they become drowsy. But the children guess that they are doing up to some mischief. So they don't drink the juice which is offered by these people. Instead, they confront them. They come across a cupboard in which they have placed all their digital and electronic equipment, and they threaten the aliens that if you don't allow us to go outside, we'll destroy all your equipments. If the equipments get destroyed, the aliens cannot leave Earth. They have to be here itself. So they agree to whatever they say. So they show them the way to come out, and finally, first the teachers are sent out, then the children, they themselves, they come out one by one, and they all get together again. They are rescued and they are out of danger right now. So this is about this particular chapter. Thank you.